All right, well, hi everyone. I'm so grateful for y'all to be here. Thank you so much for coming. Whether you guys were invited by one of my fellow EPG candidates, you came for fun or you came for the food. I'm really grateful that you all are here, and I'm excited to have a new and energetic audience to present my internship to. I'm sure my friends and family have gotten pretty sick at this point about me talking about pupusas and gender inequality and gentrification and casual conversation, so I'm excited to be here. Like he said, my name is Kaitlin Morris. I am a junior communication major, no longer a food studies double major. Recently changed that due to my internship this summer. And I now have a minor in business administration. And I'm from Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. And yeah. Okay, so cooking up change in the food industry is the title of my presentation today. So before I get into what exactly I did this summer, I want to kind of rewind to the EPG Summer Institute 2016. During this institute, we read a book titled Work on Purpose. And basically what this book is it goes through a bunch of different entrepreneurs who entered the nonprofit field and really decided that they wanted to make a change to the work that they did. And a really significant exercise that stuck out to me in this book was one called Head plus Heart equals Hustle. Initially, when I came into college, I wanted to do culinary journalism. But when I did this exercise, which taught me that when you combine what you know with what you're good at, with what you know with what you're passionate about, then that's when you create hustle, or when you do your best work. So it's at that point that I realized that I didn't want to just have a career in the food industry to have a career in the food industry. I wanted one that would make a difference and make an impact where I could work with people and really do something different. So from that point, it was about time for me to start looking for internships. And I didn't really know where to begin. So, like any resourceful millennial, I resorted to the internet and got on my good friend Google, and I basically just started searching. I knew that I'm not an ag major, I'm not super into sustainability, the recycling bins at all the events kind of confused me, and while hunger is a global and ever-pressing issue, it's not really something that excites me or gets me out of bed in the morning. So I basically just started online and looked up food nonprofits, and from there, after a few websites, and actually a lot of websites, and just a lot of searching, a little bit of initiative, an email, and a few phone calls, I finally had a summer internship and was officially on my way to San Francisco, California for my summer internship. So what I did this summer is I worked with a nonprofit called La Cocina, and La Cocina is based out of San Francisco's Mission District, which is San Francisco's Latino cultural district. Their mission is to cultivate low-income food entrepreneurs as they formalize and grow their businesses by providing them with affordable commercial kitchen space, industry-specific technical assistance, and access to market opportunities. They focus primarily on women from communities of color and immigrant communities. And their vision is that entrepreneurs gain financial security in doing what they love to do, creating an innovative, vibrant, and inclusive economic landscape. Now, just to explain a little bit more about what La Cocina and how it's structured is their business incubator program. So basically how that works is people have to apply to be in the program, and that's the first step of the process. This program actually developed based off of a need that they saw. The initial need that they saw when they opened up the program was that people had a lack of affordable commercial kitchen space. And the second one that they realized is that there were other barriers to entry into the marketplace as well. So they wanted to create a program that was not only beneficial to the entrepreneurs, but one that would create businesses that would be able to sustain in San Francisco's competitive food economy. So it starts off with application, and that typically takes about a month. And the next step after that is a pre-incubation process, which is about 8 months. And that consists of 8 months of trainings and classes based around the categories of marketing, operations, finances, and product. So basically during this time, I got to sit in a lot of classes while I was there during this. And they basically just fine-tuned all the details of their business, so including logo, website, tagline. We had pro bono food photographers come in. They finalized their menus, wrote out job descriptions for future employees that they would have, all of the stuff that they need in order to really launch their business. So next after that is the incubation process, and this can take anywhere from 3 to 6 years. It really depends on the business owner and how successful their idea is and how many opportunities they're able to access. So, and then after that is graduation. Graduation you can normally get to once you've found a brick and mortar location for your restaurant or for your prepared goods. La Cocina does prepared and packaged food products to house. Okay, so a little bit about the work that I did. So specifically what I worked on this summer was community outreach. I worked with the program coordinator, Emiliana Puyana. She's pictured right here. She was a really great person to be my supervisor this summer because she brought a really unique perspective to the organization. She actually is originally from Venezuela and she has a background in the culinary world. She went to culinary school in New York and then eventually moved to San Francisco where about, I believe, 2011, she became a program participant at La Cocina with a pickling business called Jared S.F. Brine. So in her position where she's overlooking the whole program that I just went over with you guys on this page, she's basically in charge of all of that and working with the entrepreneurs throughout that process. So it was really interesting working with her because not only had she been through it herself, but she was advising it as well. And in my position, I did a lot of sitting at a desk and drinking a lot of coffee, but mostly what this consisted of in that process was really revamping their community partners that they had. And this is because the organization that they co-founded on was called Women's Initiative for Self-Employment, which is where they source a lot of their clients and potential entrepreneurs. Unfortunately shut down a few years ago, so since then they've been having a significant decline in their entrepreneurs. So really what I did is I spent a lot of time reaching out to nonprofits and business-related organizations and just general businesses in the Bay Area who cater to a similar demographic that La Cocina does. And then on top of that, to recruit, I did a lot of Canva. Shout out to EPG, who originally taught me how to use Canva. It saved my life this summer. And just made a lot of promotional materials for not only our potential community partners, but also for potential clients as well. And this is really crucial for me personally because it really showed me a direct way to use my skills that I learned in the EPG program, specifically that of community outreach and kind of marketing to your community, possible businesses that you have. So for example, last year during EPG, we did a lot of advocating and educating about the Splash and Dash. And I never thought that hanging up door hangers on every house in Berea would actually be useful until I was in San Francisco, walking through the Mission District, walking into random laundromats and corner stores and pinaderitas, and giving out random flyers, as well as calling as well. That was another skill that came in handy when I was generating our community outreach sheet, was calling random businesses. And I think in a sense I have a little bit of phone anxiety, but I definitely had to get to a point where I overcame that this summer because I didn't really have a choice. I had to call a lot of people. And there's just another example. So one of my biggest problems that I had this summer is that I didn't fully understand the breadth of the La Cocina program. I didn't really know how successful it was. So once I got there and I found out that not only did they have 23 brick and mortar locations throughout the Bay Area from their entrepreneurs, they've launched 96 businesses since their founding 11 years ago. Not all of those have graduated, unfortunately, but they still do have a lot. They have 35 businesses currently active in the program. They also have a kiosk at the Ferry Building, which is a giant marketplace right on the water, a really big tourist destination where people go to get food. That's where they sell a lot of their packaged good products from their packaged food entrepreneurs. And then they host annual events as well, from the Food and Entrepreneurship Conference to an annual storytelling series called Voices from the Kitchen, and then a San Francisco Street Food Festival that the last time it was ran had over 60 food vendors there. So this was really intimidating to me because I didn't know what I was getting into. So to come into this organization and see something that's so successful, and not only successful, but is run by people who are experts in their field. I was working with people from Harvard and Stanford and people who are 5-star chefs. If anyone knows who Tracy Hardines is, she's on their board, and she's one of the most well-renowned female chefs in San Francisco. She works very heavily with that organization. So just to see the amount of people who are working there and the things that they're doing was very intimidating. And it really caused a lot of insecurity that I didn't expect I'd find in myself. I mean, how is a college student from Berea, Kentucky, supposed to like compete in like the big city of San Francisco and work with these super talented people. But I really had to take the skills that I learned in EPG, which is to be confident, especially confident in the creative things that you do, the creative choices that you're in, and to use these opportunities where you may see it as self-doubt, and instead use these people as resources. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I had to really get to know these people and learn from them, and I eventually had to get over that fear of knowing, oh my gosh, like what are they going to think of me if I open my mouth? Like, oh my God, they're going to be like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. But I really had to get rid of that and use it to my advantage, and that's what I did, and I'm very grateful for the connections that I made there. Okay, so another part of the work that I did this summer was specifically during on their application process. So the application process at La Cocina consists of 6 main parts. And that first is an orientation that potential entrepreneurs can attend. Second are office hours. There's a drop-in market. 4th is an application workshop. 5th is an application submission. And 6th is an interview. So what I did a lot during this is I revised the orientation process to make it less scary for people who were possibly entering. And then I also redid our interview sheets as well. And this was a big learning experience for me because I really got to see the skills I learned at EPG in action, specifically because I got to sit in on all of our interviews. So basically how the interviews were set up is they're very casual. Potential entrepreneurs, they would come in, they'd bring the food that they'd either be packaging and selling or selling on their menu. And we would taste that. Then they would run us through their business plan. They were required to have a completed business plan in order to apply. And then we would give feedback and ask leading questions based on that. And I can't tell you the number of times that I kept asking people while they were telling us, okay, well, here's who would buy this product. Here's who would eat this. I'm like, have you done customer discovery? Are you sure that's true? I remember this woman came in and her product was chips that are made out of bitter melon and moringa. And basically what those are is these weird foreign chips. And she was saying, oh my gosh, like teens would love these, like Asian teens would love these. And I was like, how do you know that? And she was like, I just assume. I'd sell them in Asian grocery stores. And I was like, do you see chips in Asian grocery stores? And she was like, no. So I really was able to apply the aspect of customer discovery to the work that I did this summer, specifically in the application process. So now a little food for thought. Don't worry, I'm almost done, so you guys can go get more food if you get hungry afterwards. Basically, one of my favorite things when I was outside of the office that I got to work on was working with our actual entrepreneurs. And that's when I learned basic skills like making momos or just learning about small things in the food world that I wouldn't have been able to know otherwise if I hadn't built those relationships. But another barrier that I found this summer that I really wish was something that I would have worked on is I'm not a bilingual Spanish speaker, and a lot of our entrepreneurs in our program are bilingual Spanish speakers. So that really was a big conflict for myself because there are all these people who I wanted to get to know better and who I wanted to work with, and I wanted to build stronger relationships with who I couldn't. And that's because of that language barrier. And then it felt insensitive of me to give this presentation about the work that I did this summer without addressing the current problems that are going on in this country in terms of DACA and immigration and everything that's happening. And I just want to remind you all that American food is immigrant food. We wouldn't have the American food that we have today if it wasn't for immigrants coming to this country and being resilient and working hard and advocating for change. The food industry is something that needs to be changed, and the entrepreneurs in our program are working very hard to do that. Are we done? Okay. Unfortunately, I'm out of time, but thank you all so much. And I appreciate you coming, and have a great day. Yeah.